Welcome back to Grassroots Media, and welcome back to this year's edition of the Baileyton Drug Company Jason Lowe Show, where we cover everything on the diamond with the North Green Huskies baseball team. As always, I'm joined here with Huskies head coach Jason Lowe. Coach, how we doing?
Doing well. Getting ready for a ball game this evening, trying to get the field dried out, and scheduled for 4 this week, so see if we can
We'll see how many we get in.
Tomorrow doesn't look very promising up in Stony Creek, so
Yeah.
we'll see.
It's springtime. I know being a head coach during spring in an outdoor sport is always a little bit of a challenge with weather and rain and such.
Yeah, it is. If it's not rain, it's wind, and I don't know which one I hate worse.
You got to battle against the wind.
Yeah, probably the rain, but the wind is probably more annoying than anything. So, and the wind blows pretty good out there on the Diamond Tundra.
Yeah. Blows up there pretty good in Stony Creek and some places in Carter County too, where you're up there on the base of the mountain.
Oh yeah, I mean, you just gotta love it up there in Carter
Absolutely.
County. I just hope I get to make my first trip up there tomorrow, and looking forward to going to Cloudland. Haven't been there in 5 or 6 years. That's always a great trip. Try to treat it like a little mini vacation, and a lot to do up there, a lot to see, and get people to talk to, and I'm gonna miss going to Hampton. That's something. May have to stop back by Scotty Bunton Field on the way down from Cloudland and maybe catch a game at the old ballpark and catch up with my old buddy Coach Perkins.
We'll have to see if you can fit that in the schedule sometime, because you got 4 games this week. It might not be this week.
Yeah, maybe not this week.
Got a packed schedule.
We actually go to Cloudland next Monday, so I may have to see what the Bulldogs are doing next Monday, and may have to put something together.
So you've had 4 games so far this year. Before we jump into those, I kind of want to preview the team a little bit. Talk to me about who you've got on your squad this year, what you've got at each position, kind of the conference outlook. I know we just talked about Hampton not playing there anymore. They've moved up out of conference now. You've still got University High, Unaka, and Cloudland. So give us kind of an outlook on the season. I know we're about two and a half weeks into the season now, but talk to me about what your mindset is at the moment.
So far I'm very, very pleased with the way we've played. Not so much the way we've executed at times, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
We could be 4-0, but we're not. There's been times that we've just not executed in crucial moments, and I think that's partly just inexperience in certain positions. But for the most part, I'm excited about this. If this team will make the strides necessary, I'm excited about them. Pretty senior. I'm not gonna say senior heavy, but I do have 4 seniors. All state. Colton Robbins returning left fielder, and then Don Stansfield. I've actually moved him into the infield a little bit. He's playing a little infield and outfield, so moving him around a little bit. And you got Adam Weir. He's played third base his entire tenure here at North Green, and then Mason Smith, who hasn't really got to play a whole lot, but this year he's making the most of his opportunity. And man, he threw a gem the other night against Gatlinburg Pittman, which I'm sure we'll get to here in a minute. But the outlook on the season, it looks a little different. Hampton's gone, Cloudland's back in, so we're still just a 4-team conference. Us, UH, Unaka, Cloudland. I don't know what Unaka's got. I don't know I know they lost Ramsey and a few others. I've seen some scores. Cloudland, I really have no idea about, and because
Playing
they've been
JV.
they've been out of it for like 5 years, and Hampton beat them 27-0. So, I kind of thought I had a pretty good idea of what they had, and then they turn around and play UH to a 4-1 game this past weekend.
And everybody knows how good of a team UH is historically.
Yeah, so now I'm kind of scratching my head and wondering, what they've got. But we'll worry about that a week from today. I've got 4 games before that, so we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And like you said, UH, the last time we went to the state tournament was, 2021? We've not beaten them since. They've kind of had a stranglehold on the conference ever since then. So we're looking, if we can take care of business against Unaka and Cloudland, it kind of sets up that final series of the year against University High for, who's going to take the regular season crown. But we know postseason's what matters, and that's how you get down the road to where you want to be.
To open up the season, you traveled over, had a good old matchup with West Green and one of your good friends in Coach Sauceman. Had a 13-10 loss against them, then played Cherokee, suffered an 8-6 loss. Turned things around last week. Played back-to-back games against Gatlinburg-Pittman, got a great 14-3 win, and an even better 6-5 win with some March magic of your own out there on the diamond. So talk about your games so far through the season and how you've kind of watched your team mesh so far through the 2 weeks in the season.
The first game against West Green, I'm not really at liberty to talk about a whole lot. It's currently, actually, you put it another, it's currently being investigated by TWSAA. Long story short, they cheated.
Okay.
So their coach is, I'll go ahead. Nobody watches my show, but I'll just go ahead and break it down. Their coach uses performance-enhancing drugs.
Okay.
And, I think that kind of rubbed off to the rest of the team to pound out about 17 hits against us. So, that's being looked into. So
I notice every year during 4th of July, he always wears his cutoff.
That's what I'm saying.
And I understand why now, because you always see him in large T-shirts and such. But when he wears that cutoff, you know why he cuts the sleeves off, because he's got guns a-blazing every July 4th.
Yeah. So he starts, baseball season started, so he's on his cycle right now. And, like I said, that rubbed off on his team. And, man, they hit the ball well that game. So we'll see what the TWSAA decides, but I look for that game to probably be overturned here within the next couple of weeks. Moving on to Cherokee, man, that one stung. That was a game that we could have won. We're sitting there up 6-4 in the bottom of the 6th, and just 2 costly mistakes. Then a guy comes up and hits a 3-run home run. If we make routine plays, the guy never gets to the plate. So. And we lose 8-6. So that one stung, but it was one of those that you walked away from it. The way they've beaten us the past couple of years, if you would have told me going into the game, hey, it's going to be a 2-run game either way, I think I would have taken that.
Mm-hmm.
So you walk away from it pleased with how your team played overall, knowing that you hung right in there and you had a really good team on the ropes. But it still stings knowing that you really had a chance. You were like 4 outs away from actually getting the win.
Mm-hmm.
Then moving on to Gatlinburg-Pittman, we went over there last Thursday. Aiden took the mound, the lefty we've got. I think he struck out 8, walked none.
That's big in high school to not allow a single walk.
Actually, in the Gatlinburg-Pittman series, and I'm probably going to jinx my entire club, in the Gatlinburg-Pittman series, 2 games, 14 innings, we walked 1, hit 1.
Okay.
In 14 innings. So if you do that, you're going to give yourself a chance to win.
Always.
To win baseball games. As long as your defense will help you out, and I'll get to that in a minute. But that first game, Thursday, Aiden threw the ball well. We go up 2-0 in the top of the first. And I kept telling my guys, I've been around sports, baseball and sports my whole life. If you let a team hang around and just hang around, that's a recipe for disaster. So we leave bases loaded, nobody out. 2nd inning, we don't score. 3rd inning, bases loaded, 1 out. We don't score. Just not executing, not getting the ball in play, popping up bunts, not getting the bunts down, things like that. We preach your approach has to change, especially bases loaded, less than 2 outs. You have to find a way to get the ball in play and get a runner across. And we didn't do that. And, what I told them was exactly right, because that score was a little misleading.
Okay.
We won 14-3. After 5 innings, we were down 3-2. And then we scored see if my math is mathing here. We scored 3 in the 6th and 9 in the 7th.
I think it's 14.
Well, that's 14. Okay. So 3 in the 6th, 9 in the 7th. They had some walks, and we had several hits. We finally, bats came alive, and we started making them pay for those walks, and started doing what we're kind of preaching the first 5 innings of the game was to push those runners across. So yeah, you see that 14-3, and you think we kind of controlled the whole game, and it really wasn't the case. So they came over here Friday, and I think they jumped out on us 1-0 in the top of the first. We tied it 1-1. We went up 2-1. So we're going into the 6th up 5-1. Kind of cruising a little bit, and like I said, make a couple of mistakes, give them 2 runs. It's 5-3. So we go into the 7th. We're 3 outs away. We make a couple of mistakes. Before you know it, it's 5-5. Lo and behold, here we are again, bottom of the 7th, bases loaded with 1 out. Can't remember who was hitting. Anyway, we had a strikeout, so it was kind of back to where we were on Thursday. And believe it or not, Owen Pierce comes up with 2 outs. Guy I had actually inserted into the lineup kind of off a whim as a designated hitter for that game. I put him in to get a couple at bats the night before once we got a lead, and I kind of liked his approach up there, and I liked the way he was swinging the bat. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna let him DH this game. I'm gonna give him a couple more swings, and it paid off. He got the big hit for us, and we were luckily able to win that 6-5.
A little bit of March magic here as March Madness is going on. You get some on the Husky Diamond. That's always good to see. I mean, we talked about it on Saturday morning leadoff show. Would you rather win a game on a walk-off or a run rule?
Okay, I'm gonna touch on that because I watched that. Okay. Actually, I watched that part of your show, and you all had a little bit of an argument. You and Mark, and who's in the background? Was that Dalton?
Yeah, he does production. We speak to him sometimes off camera.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and put this to rest. From a coach's standpoint, I'm taking the run rule every single time.
Less stress?
Absolutely.
Less stress. Okay, yeah. That's why.
You can sit over there and kind of kick back and enjoy everything that's going on instead of worrying about every single pitch.
Yeah. You can kind of look around and see the nice scenery that they've got at their ballparks.
Actually, the walk-off the other day, they went and pig-pawed Owen. I turned around and went to the dugout because I was just like, why do we do this to ourselves? We should have comfortably won this game. There should have been no stress, but instead it came down. It was an 0-2.
Okay, so
pitch too.
It was last strike.
Yes, we were down to our last strike. Of course, it would have went to extra innings. But yeah, we were down to our last strike, and Owen got the big hit.
So run rule.
I was going to have to go with the new pitcher as well.
Okay, so
technically, if it would have went to extra innings on paper, they would have probably had the advantage because the pitcher they had in was throwing the ball really well. I would have had to brought someone in cold. You kind of don't know how it's going to go. You've not thrown all game, and here you are thrown to the fire in extra innings, expecting to shut them down. So, yeah, I'm taking the run rule every time.
Okay. As a
fan, I'm taking the walk-off.
But as a coach, as a player, you probably like the run rule better.
Yeah.
It's an easier night at the office.
Yeah. Sometimes as a player, maybe the walk-off, depending on the situation, depending on the game, the magnitude of the game. But as a coach, I'm taking the walk-off every single time. Or, I'm sorry.
The run rule. I know what you meant.
The run rule every single time. Because I've been on blood pressure medicine since I was like 25. I can't handle that. Yeah. My nerves,
there we go.
My nerves can't handle it.
The argument's put to rest. Run rule outweighs the walk-off.
As a coach.
Not as a
fan.
As a coach. Fans are most of the time going to go, well, I don't know. It just depends. Because as a fan, you don't want that stress either. But I don't know. It's not 100%, I'll tell you that. There's always going to be those
it's not 100%. It's like, if you're watching here in March Madness, who do you like?
I'm a Duke basketball fan.
Okay,
I'm a Texas Athletics fan.
Okay, so would you rather have Duke blown out James Madison last night or beat him on a buzzer beater?
It's a better win when you blow them out.
You're just more comfortable with it. You don't have to sit there on the edge of your seat.
You're more comfortable when you score 90 and you shoot 60%.
When you get 14 threes, that helps. So, They better do that next game.
It's going to be a lot tougher.
Houston's guard play is
They got one of the best defenses.
little bit. Yeah, their defensive guard play is a little better than James Madison's was.
Yeah.
I'm afraid so.
One game I'm looking forward to: Iowa State and Illinois. The #1 Ken Palm defense and the #1 Ken Palm offense. That's always a fun game when you get two #1s. But
You know, they always. Who you going with, the defense or the offense?
in my main bracket, I had Iowa State in the championship, also upsetting UConn. So I've got to ride with them right now.
I have UConn winning it. I'll be honest with you. I have sat down and watched Iowa State. I have not sat down and watched Illinois.
I've watched 2 games. One game they lost, and I don't think they had their best player when they played the other night. It's kind of hard to gauge when you're playing a 14 seed.
I had UConn and Purdue in the championship, and both of those are rolling right now. So
Had this conversation yesterday.
as long as the Tar Heels don't win, I'll
Absolutely. I don't want Arizona, though, either. They've got an old Tar Heel there, too. So,
I actually have Arizona beating them in my bracket.
yeah, I guess I'd rather go with Arizona just because I don't want to see UNC win. But as long as they lose the Final Four, you don't want to see Caleb Love be able to celebrate.
You know, if history repeats itself, though, well, was it last year Purdue lost to a 16 seed?
Mm-hmm. And then what happened when Virginia did? They won the title.
Yeah, the last time, or the first time it happened, Virginia loses to a 16 seed. They come right back and win the title. So if history repeats itself, and you're a betting man, you might want to get on your local sports book and put a little,
Go with Purdue.
sprinkle a little bit on the Boilermakers.
It's hard for a team to go back to back, but if there's ever one team to do it at this time, UConn seems
UConn
like
looks
they
pretty
can do it.
good.
Yeah.
They look. You know, who they got next?
They've got San Diego State, a rematch of the championship game.
I don't.
I don't see.
This
I don't know.
San Diego, yeah, this team. I don't.
I think San Diego State might have done it as a 5 seed last year too. when
I
they
don't
made it, but I can't
think.
remember.
I could be wrong. I don't think this San Diego State team can hang with them. No. Who's Carolina got?
Alabama.
Alabama. Okay.
Alabama's got a great offense.
Clemson plays Arizona, right? Is that right?
I think so. Yes. Yes.
It's like I can see the bracket in my head, but
Yeah.
some of them are
I think
getting
of who I
mixed
used to
up.
pick. Like I had Kentucky going the distance in a
Clemson
lot
play
of them.
Arizona. They play Iowa State. No, you said Iowa State plays Illinois.
Yeah, and then
I think
UConn's
it's
got San
Arizona.
Diego State. I think it is
I think it's
too.
Arizona.
Because I could picture some of them, like in a lot of them, I had Marquette and Kentucky playing, and now I have to think, okay, Kentucky's not in
Yeah.
it, so who would be in it? That's the
I'm
way you
gonna
got to think of
double
it.
check this because I don't.
How's
want,
your brackets doing?
I don't want to put my name on something wrong here. Clemson and Arizona play Thursday. They play the first game.
What time is the first game Thursday?
First game Thursday is at 7:09.
7:09. I know second weekend the games are always later.
Iowa State is favored over Illinois 1.5. UNC's favored 4.5. UConn's favored 10.5. Arizona's favored 6.5. Marquette's favored. Purdue's favored over Gonzaga 5.5. Houston is favored over Duke by 3.5. And
That's tight.
Tennessee is favored by 2.5.
Okay.
So-
Creighton. That could be an upset pick.
Actually, it could. In my bracket, I had Tennessee beating Creighton and losing to Purdue. I don't know that Tennessee can slow down Zach Edey.
Edie. Yeah.
But as far as my bracket overall, it's not bad. That there's two games that really, well, 3 games that really hurt me. One,
Kentucky.
devastating. I had Kentucky in the Final Four.
I did in a few of mine too, so you're not the only one.
And then I had BYU winning 2 games.
I did in a few of mine also.
And
Did
Auburn.
yeah. Auburn messed a few up.
But
I always
I
feel
had
out
some
a lot.
picks. I had some picks. I had Grand Canyon picked to win their first one. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, over St.
St.
Mary's.
Mary's?
Yeah, so I had that. Trying to think of some more I had. I had several of the.
How many brackets did you fill out? I always like to ask that question.
Oh, let's see, we do one here at school. I do one on ESPN. 2. I did one on Channel 11 News to try to win a $500 Ingles gift card. Probably 4 or 5.
4 or 5? Because you've got some people, they only fill out one every year. And then you got some people like myself, I fill out no less than like 10, 15. I filled out 15 this year. One of 15 brackets, I had Kentucky losing. So at least one game.
I
had
actually
Oakland win.
did something I never do.
What'd you do?
All my brackets, I picked the same.
The same?
That's how confident I was
That
in
UConn
my
would win.
picks. Yeah. So, but the Kentucky one, that hurt. My thinking was, with their scoring ability, come March, I was like, I like to take offensive teams.
I do too. It's the same
March.
with Alabama. Alabama's one of those that they just shoot and they have such a quick offense that it's fun to watch sometimes. But I mean,
Grand Canyon could have won that game last night.
they could have, and Charleston could have won that game the first game.
Yeah.
You score 108, it seemed, but you also allowed Charleston to score over 90.
Yeah.
Can't do that against teams like Carolina. You've seen Carolina put up 100 on Tennessee, who's also one of the best defenses. So that's going to be Alabama's downfall. Is they're just going to let a team outshoot them because they don't have the defense to slow down another high-powered offense like that.
So I guess next week we'll talk about the Elite Eight, right?
I guess so.
Elite Eight will be set.
No, I guess
No,
the Final Four.
will
You're
be,
right.
because
Yes.
they'll play
The 16s on Thursday,
Saturday,
Friday.
and then Friday, Sunday.
I think it's Thursday, Friday, then Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, the teams that win on Thursday will try
Yeah,
to
you're
play
right.
Saturday.
You're right. Yeah.
The teams that win Friday will play Sunday. So, yeah.
We'll have four next week.
We will have a Final Four set right here next week.
I don't know if I even want to try to predict.
3 of my Final Four teams are still in it.
Okay.
So,
I think all of mine in my main bracket are still alive. Kentucky might have been in my main. I don't think they were, though. It's hard to remember back when you fell at 15, like I said.
I had Kentucky and Purdue and UConn, Arizona. So,
I picked Houston to win mine. I had to go with my head over my heart as much as I want Duke to go far. I just don't see it.
I will say this, though. The past several years, Houston's had a very good team.
They have.
And they have burned me come March. It's like, usually they don't make it out of the second round.
Last year they lost round of 16.
So, yeah, Duke, I don't know.
Could.
Maybe they're catching fire at the right time.
I have a bad feeling that they wasted all that against JMU, though.
That might have been the best you're going to see. They might have ran out of steam. What worries me the most about that game is the physicality of Houston, and I feel like this Duke team's a little soft.
They are.
They're not very.
I'm not afraid to say it either.
Yeah, they're a little soft, and they don't handle physicality very well, and Houston will get after you a little bit.
Yep. Houston's one of those types. They like to rough you up. We'll go ahead and jump into break, though. We'll preview the 4 games that we've kind of touched on. We'll talk about them more in the second half, though. So we'll get a quick break in here. We'll be right back after these messages here on Grassroots Media.
My name is Robert Starnes. I'm a lifelong resident of Northern Greene County, where I currently reside here with my wife and 3 children. I was a barber in Greenville for the last 6 years, but I have recently changed locations to my new shop in Baileyton. It's at 285 Mortis Hollow Lane, Afton. I'm also a proud supporter of North Greene Athletics. Come see me for all of your men and boys grooming needs. Go Huskies!
Baileyton Drug Company services the surrounding communities of Baileyton with excellent patient care using a full-line pharmacy, over-the-counter selections, and a convenient drive-thru. When you visit us, you are treated as a neighbor, not a number. It's not just our slogan, but our culture. We're investing in our patients, local schools, and community. For over 5 years now, we have established ourselves as an independently family-run pharmacy that isn't driven by corporate goals. We are driven by what is best for your overall health and wellness. We're conveniently located so you don't have to make the drive. Prescription drugs are just the tip of the iceberg. We also offer natural remedies, essential oils, at-home medical needs such as walkers, rollators, bath accessories, as well as wound care products. And coming soon, basic urgent care services. What makes us better than other drugstores out there? When you frequent Baileyton Drug, you will receive professional, courteous, and friendly service that goes above and beyond any other pharmacy in the area. Remember, you're a neighbor, not a number.
Pizza, pancakes, or donuts, the Davy Crockett Travel Center in Baileyton has the cure for all your cravings. While you're there, shop our general store for souvenirs, gifts, and cellular accessories. In a hurry, grab a cold drink and a hot dog to go. Check us out on Facebook and come to Baileyton.
Welcome back to Grassroots Media, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Baileyton Drug Company Jason Lowe Show, where we cover everything on diamond with the North Green Huskies baseball team. As always, I'm joined here with baseball head coach Jason Lowe. So you've got those 4 games this week, a bit of a packed schedule. You've only had 4 in 2 weeks, and now you get 4 in 1 week with the 2 conference games, the in-county game, and then the out-of-county game with Volunteers. So we'll go ahead and talk about them one by one. You've got Unaka at home today, Unaka on the road tomorrow, Chucky Doak at home Thursday, Volunteer at home Friday. Take us through each matchup and what you expect out of your boys this week.
Yeah, we've probably played less than just about anyone. We had it rain out there on spring break. I only scheduled 3 games, and then the next week I only had 2 scheduled. Later in the week, going into the scheduling, I kind of anticipated. Well, I knew there was a very good chance that basketball would go to the state tournament, so I didn't want to front load the schedule knowing that there's a good chance that I'm going to be missing several key players. So, we've only played 4, but, starting this week, we really ramped things up. Like you said, today and tomorrow we open up conference play with Unaka. I know they lost their best arm last year, and that's really all I know. I don't know who else is back. I've just seen some scores. They've played a lot of games. They've already played, I think, 8, so double the amount of games that we've played. So
you've seen some teams like that. I think West Green's played about 8 so far
they
this
played
year,
a little
too.
more. They played a little more than we have, and I think that if we go out and play like we can, I think we'll be okay. We have to throw strikes and like we have been, and if we do that and play clean defense, then I like our chances. Tomorrow we go to Stony Creek. Doesn't look good with the weather forecast. It's calling for about 90% steady rain tomorrow afternoon, so that one may or may not get played, but if it doesn't, it'll have to be made up because it's a conference game. Fast forward to Thursday, Chucky Doak. We scrimmaged them a couple weeks ago, right before the season. So we've kind of seen each other, know what each other's got. But regular season's a little different than a scrimmage. Seen they had a good win over Cott County the other day, and I think they're sitting undefeated, if I'm not mistaken, in conference. They've
believe they're 2-0.
Yeah, I guess.
It's weird. They're 2-0 and South Green's 3-1, but they have 0 losses, so they would technically be number 1.
Right. So, I guess the coach in me is hoping that them and West Green have a couple of battles today and tomorrow and
tire each other out.
Has to burn a lot of pitching, and we'll have the advantage there pitching. But I'm sure those will be 2 great games. If we didn't play today and tomorrow, that's probably 2 games I would actually go watch, because I think those are 2 teams that are pretty evenly matched and should be good. And then Friday, Volunteer. We got rained out against Volunteer over spring break, so they're coming over on Good Friday, and we're gonna play a noon game. Try to get it over with and get out of here so everyone can enjoy Easter weekend. They're always a tough team. I've used to play a lot of softball with their coach, Josh Peterson, so we know each other, and we try to get together and play every year. And last year I remember we played them in the Buddy Hawk here. They made it 7-6. We had a good game. So hopefully we have another one on Friday.
So that touches up on the 4 games you got coming up. The conversations that we always usually talk about at the end of every interview. Boston Red Sox baseball. Opening week this week. Opening day this week. I guess technically that would be opening week too. The conversation the last 2 years that we've done these, this is the 3rd year now, has always been, what do we expect this year? Do we expect to make the playoffs? Is your answer still no?
No. Yes. The answer is no.
Yeah. I'm the same way.
Man, I think it's on paper. I was actually going over this with some of my boys on the field the other day. All I've heard is Dodgers. Once I pull up the rosters and I look at rotation and lineup, I think the Braves are putting the best product on the field.
As of right now.
Especially, can you imagine that rotation if they get the old Chris Sale? Mm-hmm. And you've got Sale and Strider and that, but man, that's going to be tough.
Team in the American League that I'm not looking forward to just because of how young they are and the prospects they have are the Baltimore Orioles. But the main worry with them is what about their pitching? I know they traded and got Corbin Burns, who's going to be their opening day starter, but outside of him, what do they have? I know they've got Grayson Rodriguez, who was a rookie last year, who has a lot of potential, but you need a full lineup, as you've seen. We talked about it with the Braves. They look like they've got the best rotation. And you looked at the Rangers last year. The Rangers had a great rotation when they won it, and that's how the Astros have won a lot of World Series. Yeah. The Orioles are my main threat, I think, for the future, but their rotation, I don't know if it can hold up.
Yeah, when it comes playoff time and you get into these series, I always go with the team with the better rotation.
I do too.
Especially when you get into a 7-game series.
The 3-game series, anything can happen.
Right. It's like you said. You mentioned the Astros. That's their offense was no slouch, but man, their rotation was so deep and they just pitched so well, and that's why I think I don't know how the relief pitching is in Atlanta. Not paid a whole, but I know their starting rotations is very, very good. But
bullpens are always one of those you kind of have to gauge a month into the season.
Yeah, you never know. You get some unsung heroes, and you get some guys that you really had high hopes for that just kind of fizzle out.
It seems like 90% of your bullpen guys never get long, lengthy contracts because it's always such a huge turnover rate.
Yeah, is anybody going to pick up Trevor Bauer?
I don't know. Is anybody going to pick up Jordan Montgomery too? He seems like a big free agent that's left.
Did I see right? Did they send what's his name back down to the minors? Jackson.
Holiday? Yeah. He's going to start the season in AAA, and it was announced today that Paul Skeens is going to start in AAA. Don't expect that to last long, though. If he burns it up with the Indianapolis Indians in AAA, I'd say he's going to pitch a lot with the Pittsburgh Pirates this year.
You see that kid sitting right back there?
I do.
I don't know if I'm allowed to mention his name. I don't know.
Absolutely.
All this privacy stuff, I don't know. That guy right there is probably the best tennis player I've ever seen in my life. Shout out to Benjamin Joseph Rao Rowe.
Say that name one more time.
It's Benjamin Joseph Rao, he says, but to me he's Ben Rowe.
Okay.
The fourth.
Okay.
He's
the
sitting
fourth.
back there
awesome.
making sure that
You rarely ever see the fourth.
Carrying on the family. Well, Don Stansfield on my team.
Okay.
He is. I'm sorry, I feel so bad for him, but his mother, Tana Stansfield, she works here.
Shout out to her again. This is like 2 interviews in a row she's got to mention.
Yeah, shout out to her. Stinks the school up on a weekly basis with her little T-shirt making business back there. I think there's some kind of racketeering going on in that room. I think she got some kind of project going on under the table money, but you can smell it all the way up the baseball field. It's either the T-shirts or her breath. I haven't decided. It's one of the two. I don't know. I'll let you decide. But he's actually the fourth.
Is he a fourth too?
I'm pretty sure. She can correct me on that. She's never been able to correct me on anything in her miserable life. But if I'm wrong on that, then I'll let her correct me. But
DS4 would be a cool nickname.
Yeah,
that'd be a cool nickname. DS4.
I'm not telling that. I'm not telling that.
I'll let you take credit for that
dance. I'm trying to get him to do the little dance that the guy from UT does. I'll just show it to you.
Okay.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. But no, she helps out a lot. Just cut that part out.
All right.
Yeah, we have like a brother sister work relationship. So, but I'm always right. She's not.
Absolutely. Is your wife going to watch this week? This is the very end of it. You think she makes it all the way to this?
My wife doesn't listen to me at home, so I don't know why my wife would listen to me talk on social media.
I wonder about this. A lot of people watch these, and a lot of, wives, brothers, sisters, parents of the coaches watch these. You think they make it all the way to the end, like right now?
Absolutely not.
You don't think so? You think they tune it out once we start talking about the Red Sox?
No.
But there's always those 1 or 2 people that always tell them, hey, go to this part, or show them when they don't watch it.
Once we get to the part on basketball, we got off on that rant about basketball, she's out. She's out like Adam Weir most of the time when he steps to the plate. So,
Unless there's anything you want to add, I'm going to let you get out to the field and get ready to welcome the Rangers down here for the first conference game of the year. Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate
you once again. Thank you all for watching this week's edition of the Baileyton Drug Company Jason Lowe Show. Look forward to seeing y'all next time here on Grassroots Media.